Hi there, welcome to another episode of BizTalk. I'm Mikhail Raj, your host. As usual, BizTalk is on every Friday at 8:30 p.m. on Bernama News Channel 502. You can also catch us on My TV 121 and Unify TV 410. For today's topic, we focus on HSS Engineers Berhad and the many projects it has undertaken. The company prides itself as among Malaysia's premier consultant in engineering services, and the listed company moved from the ACE market to the main board within a relatively short period of time. It is involved in a wide range of sectors. They include urban infrastructure, roads, highways, railways, metro systems and bridges. And these projects include things like the East Coast Rail Link, the Penang Bridge 1 and 2, the second Mars Rapid Transit Line, and even the upcoming Malaysia-Singapore High-Speed Rail. So of course, one of the latest projects is a consultancy contract for the proposed bridge linking the International Offshore Financial Centre of Labuan and Menumbu in mainland Sabah. So this is interesting, and we want to know how the bridge would change the socio-economic landscape of Labuan. The full details on BizTalk. Welcome back. Now remember, you can also watch us online, especially if you want to go out at www.bernama.com or via our Facebook page live. Okay, so to get a further insight into HSS Engineers and the proposed Labuan Bridge plus other projects, we have in the studio Puan Sharifah Azlina. She is the company's Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer. Welcome to the show, Puan Sharifah. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, hope all is well and good with you.
Yes,
I'm
couldn't
sure,
be better.
Yeah, I'm sure the people of Labuan are very excited in the mainland Sabah and also in mainland Sabah, excited over the proposed bridge, because based on HSS Engineers' experience with other infrastructure projects, how would the bridge connectivity help to develop Labuan into what we call a smart and sustainable island city with a well-diversified economy in time to come, perhaps by 2030.
I'm also excited about it, Mike. And actually, one of the fundamental or prerequisite of a good sustainable development is the provision of infrastructure, which means water, power, and transportation. Transportation means by air, via land, and via water. So in fact, when you talk about road, you talk about connectivity, you talk about accessibility. So that's what Labuan Bridge is all about. So in fact, the bridge has been identified in the Labuan Blueprint 2030 as an enabler to this sustainable development, because it facilitates the movement of people, the movement of goods, and it transport tourists into the Labuan and vice versa. And other than that, it also unlock potential land values. You see, you can open up more land, more development along the corridor of the bridge.
A long time in coming,
Yes, so 2030, inshallah.
What is your role in? What is your company's role in this development?
We were invited to submit a proposal during the launching by Yang Berhormat Prime Minister. That was in 18th of January for the launching of this project. So we have done so, submitted our proposal to the Labuan Corporation, and now we're waiting for them to process our bid, and inshallah, God's willing, if we receive the letter of award, we shall start the ball rolling. So first and foremost, what we would do is, there's a lot of site investigative work that needs to be done. Things like topo survey, soil investigation, bathymetric survey to study the land, the assess the corridor, and then from there we would look at the route, the most viable or the most recommended option of the route or the alignment, and we would develop the cost estimate based on this recommended route. And from the cost estimate, we'll do our financial modeling, economic appraisal, risk management, identify risks, and then come up with the mitigation measures. And then finally, part of our mandate is to come up with the funding or the financing mechanism, okay? And then float the RFP for the private interested party to implement the project.
It's so extensive. I think it's really a difficult project, because it's not on land, it's on sea as well. So the government gave the go-ahead for what we call a techno-economic feasibility study. And as a layman, how does this differ from a feasibility study?
Okay. Actually, during the announcement by the Bernama Prime Minister, it is actually called term now as the kajian perlaksanaan.
So it's implementation.
Implementation study.
So we have progressed on this project.
Definitely, we have progressed on the feasibility and the techno, and what that means is, apart from the technical, apart from the engineering, we also have to do the financial evaluation, come up with the financial IRR, the economic IRR, and then look at the funding mechanism. This is not a norm normally in a typical feasibility study. You have to come up with the best funding or financing option, and I think we have agreed to go on the private financing initiative, and from here we will develop the request for proposal and help the Labuan Corp to float the bid for interested party. So part of our mandate is also to develop evaluation criteria. How you evaluate when the bidders submit their proposal, which include this funding.
So it looks like you have a lot more to do than any other company. Sharifah, can you cite examples where islands were connected to the mainland in the region, regionally or globally, and where the spillover benefits multiplied after connectivity?
I think I need not go very far, just a bit north to Penang, right?
Okay, you did the first and the second bridge, right?
Yes, in a sense that the first Penang bridge was opened in 1985, right? But we had to widen the main span from a 2-lane to 3-lane, which means traffic was building up and it was choked. So we had to increase the capacity. So we widen it. From 2-lane to 3-lane along the main span, and then yet it could not cope with the demand of the passenger or the movers, the freight movers. So that means there's a huge influx of the movement of people and goods. So then they mooted the idea of the second Penang bridge. We were involved in the feasibility study back in 2000, identifying the corridor, where's the best solution for both landings on the mainland and the island. And it was implemented by other consultants, designed by other consultants, and finally opened in 2014, 14 years after we first embarked on the feasibility study. And also moving south, the Johor-Singapore Causeway, done in 1923, and after that, because the capacity again was reduced, so we had to look at the second link, and we were involved as the independent.
So you also personally involved in all these projects. So next time when I drive the Penang, think of you.
That's what I tell my children.
It is for sure a lot more to discuss about that, but hold your thoughts. We'll take a short break and we'll be back after these messages. Don't go away.
Brings you the latest in current affairs, lifestyle and entertainment, as well as one-on-one discussions with fascinating personalities. Only on Bernama News Channel. Accurate, legitimate, and packed with information. First on site with reports from across the country and around the world. Be in the know through Bernama News Bulletins. Only on Bernama News Channel.
The Nation, a talk show from the Current Affairs Desk with in-depth conversations on health, women, property, culture and performing arts. Only on Bernama News Channel.
Welcome back. I'm talking to Puan Sharifah from HSS Engineers. Now, Puan Sharifah, what is HSS Engineers' track record as far as having won recent contracts? I understand the company has also won some jobs for ECRL and then the MRT to Sungai Buloh and Serdang to Putrajaya lines. Can you elaborate on the details of these projects in which the public has a big interest in,
Okay.
Because it will revolutionize their lives,
Right, okay. Okay, apart from the transportation, we've also won several other projects like development, for the, for instance, project management consultant for PNB Commercial, and also some water works for PAAB, right? And roads like Tun Razak widening of Jalan Tun Razak near the TRX tower. And then, of course, coming back to ECRL, ECRL has got close at our heart because we started working on it, feasibility studies, since 2010.
Oh, that's way off.
Yes, from the way back then. So completed it in 2014. Okay, and then I think there's a change of the asset owner as MRLL, and then they had signed an agreement with CCCC as the EPC contractor, and we were awarded to do the scheme design for the entire package of the entire route of the package 1. That's slightly over 500 kilometer, and that is from Kota Baru to the ITT Gombak, also with the extension of, or rather the phase 2 from Gombak to Port Klang. And then and then from there on we move on to be appointed as the preliminary engineering design consultant, because that's the normal stage of engineering design. You do a concept, a schematic, then you move on to preliminary and lock a bit more on the detailing of the design as well as cost estimate.
But then these are all not small projects, these are really big projects.
We've got a big team.
I think that's why you all were sort of promoted to the main board in a relatively short time.
Okay. And then quite recently we were awarded the detailed design and supervision of the same package, right? Okay. And as far as the MRT line 2, it is based on our credibility and ability to deliver in MRT line 1. So again, we appointed as an independent consultant engineer for this 52.2 kilometer of the line 2. Okay.
Moving on, tell us about your company's involvement in HSR, because that's a very much sought after project, and the people along the way are really looking forward to development in their states like Negeri Sembilan and Johor, Melaka and Singapore, is it? So what is your company's involvement in HSR?
Okay, that is again, as you said, a very iconic project for our organization, right? We were awarded to do the reference design. Reference design is something like a schematic or concept design level for RDC 5, that's package 5, and that spans the entire length of the Johor state. The entire length of HSR is about 330 kilometers, slightly under, and we actually won about half of that alignment in Johor state.
So the next question is that given all this work and all that, what is your latest order book? I said maybe December 31st last year,
no worries, it's published.
It's published.
It's published. It stands at 343 million, and to be built over 2 or 4 years, over 2 or 4 years span.
So really keep you all busy for the next at least 4 years. And to what extent will it have to sustain earnings growth for the company?
It is a confirmed order, so for the next 2 or 4 years, I think, and we will of course bid for more projects. So and based on our track record, hopefully, inshallah, we'll earn more. And
Puan Sharifah, tell us about your vying for contracts in Indonesia and your foray into maybe regional and global markets. Indonesia, is India or Philippines in the radar of your company?
Yes, Indonesia and Philippines are, because they're yet another emerging economy, right? And in fact, we have recently won smaller size, not that sizable, what we call a Western Corridor, another 131 kilometer of coal haul road. And also Malak Port, that's where the port for storage and handling of this coal, you see. So we feel that will be our stepping stone to getting more contracts, more projects in Indonesia. And we're also eyeing in the Philippines, venturing out there, finding opportunity, and when the time is right, we'll make our move.
But to support your order book and to expand, you also acquired a company, SMHB Sendirian Berat, for about 270 million. Can you give us a progress update on this acquisition?
Okay, SMHB is a very renowned, established, just like us. They're also a consulting engineering firm, but they've been around for much longer than we have been around. You see, they have got about 50 years of track record. So the intent here is that we want to move and grow a new vertical, which is the water sector. You see, and they have strong track record in water. So, and simply why water? Because we feel there's a good potential in there. In the last few years, a lot of the water project has been deferred. And yet, water is necessary, water is a necessity, essential. And so we preempt that there will be many opportunity in the water sector.
This will be like in Pahang and
yes,
Selangor, right? The needs for fulfill
correct.
projects from Pahang to Selangor,
There's
right?
a water transfer.
Okay.
And also simply replacing old water pipes with new water pipes, so that you have a non-stop supply. Treatment, the upgrading of or even building new treatment plants. There's abundance of opportunity there. Even flood mitigation, and then looking at the non-revenue water and program, mitigating all this non-revenue side of it.
Reportedly, your company is looking for mergers and acquisition and strategic partnerships. What type of companies are you exploring?
Okay, we're not in a hurry to just merge or acquire. See. Importantly, it must fit us. The strategy must fit us. You see, then only we proceed with it. And so we're looking at maybe FM as a new vertical. That's facility management, and also enhancing what we already have, which is building information modeling. That's short for BIM. That's one of the two of the vertical. And also we are looking at into becoming the premier consultant, whereby we provide all kind of consultancy services. For example, not just engineering, but architecture, maybe QS, as well as planning or planners.
Yeah, indeed. Looking forward, I can see that HSS Engineers is truly breaking into the regional and global market. And thank you for your time, Sharifah, on this insight into HSS Engineers.
It's my pleasure.
I wish you and the company all the best, and make Malaysia proud.
Yes, thank you.
We'll take a short break.